last time we were here, you were gracious enough to share your really cool but kind of crazy microcar collection. And you've invited us back to actually drive a couple of these cars.
Yeah.
And thank you.
You haven't lived until you've had the microcar experience.
Well, I have had that experience. I've driven others and I've owned a couple, but still, I think these are two iconic microcars, and it'll be fun to share these with our viewers.
Good.
So tell us a little bit about each car.
This is an early 60s, I think 61, Messerschmitt, which is, of course, a German microcar. Two-stroke, 198 cc's. You can see the passenger rides behind the driver, much like the cockpit idea. Of course, Messerschmitt was a German plane manufacturer in World War II. This is a very well-known microcar model. Generally, they have bubbles on them. This one was modified so that it was a sport tribute. In other words, there were a few sport models made and offered as an option.
So that sport model was a true convertible like this, or a roadster?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So this original had a bubble top?
This originally had a bubble top. It was shipped to the UK, and I believe that as they were shipped to the UK, they weren't quite complete. And then they finished assembling them in the UK. And that, again, was to save on taxation.
Okay.
But being German, there are good records as to when this car was shipped and how it arrived in the UK. And it's kind of interesting, unlike a lot of the other things that I have where they just kind of materialized from thin air, more or less.
And is this the original color, or did you paint it this color?
I did not paint it this color, and I'm not sure I would have had the nerve to paint it this color. And I love it.
Yeah.
You know, the paint is not the greatest on it, and I had thought when I first got it, as you do with any newly acquired toy, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then the more I had it, I just went, I drive it, doesn't need pristine paint on it, and this pink is a hoot. Now, it did have a red interior when I got it.
Ooh, that'd be a little much.
It was too much. I couldn't do it. This snakeskin interior, believe it or not, Messerschmitt offered this interior when new.
Yeah.
And
because on a pink car, you want your snakeskin interior, right?
Yes,
to complete that package.
Absolutely. I mean,
I don't know what package that is,
I'm
but
not sure what. I don't know what the messages we're sending here, but it is a blast to drive. It doesn't go very quickly. It will get up to 50 miles an hour, but you have to have nerves of steel to do it.
Okay.
And as you experience it, it darts in one direction or another with the slightest little suggestion.
Well, I can't wait to try it out.
There's no steering wheel. You've got a tiller. And off you go.
Wow. All right. Well, let's talk about the Fiat.
Okay. Well, this was a work utility van that advertised you could take the family camping also. The back seat lays flat, so you could put all your materials for your project, or you and your family could cozy up and sleep back there.
Your small family.
Well, you know, Europeans were much smaller, right? And it's got a lot of interesting features. It is a water-cooled vehicle versus many of the microcars.
And four-stroke.
And four-stroke, yes.
This is two-stroke.
As opposed to the two-stroke. You can see the doors hinge by the same hinge. So you've got suicide doors in the front, conventional doors in the rear.
Here, let's open this one too.
All hinged right on that same pivot point.
For added safety, I presume.
Oh, yeah. Your steering column comes down right between your feet. So you have to have a little bit of dexterity to work your way in there. And then on the passenger side, you have the conveniently situated airbag, which is your spare tire, which you also have to maneuver your feet around. I don't know, by looking at it, you can tell. You can't tell if you're coming or going. It's got this funny, funky line, but it works.
I think it's cute.
Was probably the original family van.
Original minivan.
Yeah, let's just use it for whatever purpose. I don't know what else to say about this.
All right, assuming I can get my rather large frame into this tiny little car, we will try it out and tell you what it's like to drive. I've driven several different microcars. This Messerschmitt is certainly different than anything I've ever driven. I would say it's almost more like a Vespa scooter. The sound is certainly similar. And the tiller or handlebars almost are certainly more reminiscent of a bike. It's almost like a small scooter with bodywork around you. The transmission shifts relatively well. It's a pretty standard type shifting mechanism for one of these microcars. The handling is, let's just say twitchy would be a kind word. You do not want to touch that tiller at anything above 20 miles an hour with any type of vigor, or you're gonna do something crazy. The ride quality is quite rough. The alignment, I don't think it's out of alignment. I think it's just the way they were. The ride is quite harsh. I know I sound like I'm being quite negative, but it's still, despite its obvious failings, it is super fun. It's hard to drive without just laughing out loud. It's super fun, and I'm a bit smitten. The Fiat certainly feels like a more real vehicle. It feels like it was built by a company that builds a lot of cars. I mean, it's ergonomically not all there, but compared to the Messerschmitt, it certainly feels a little bit more like a modern automobile. The shift pattern and the torque is pretty spot on. You do sit a little too close, and the weirdest thing about it is that you literally run out of gear at about 35, 40 miles an hour. Patty told us it would do about 50, but God, you'd have to be turning 9,000 RPMs to be going that fast. So how they built something that has only that kind of a top speed blows me away. Other than having some fun today, these cars do fit into the whole collector car world. They are kind of a subset, but they're a growing subset, and they're getting quite valuable. I mean, these Multiplas are selling for close to $100,000 now. So they're despite their impracticality, collectors love them. Anybody with a larger collection wants to have a microcar or two in their collection, and there is a huge following for these cars. There's a great annual meet. This year it's up in Michigan. The clubs are fantastic. They drive the heck out of these things. They're driving all the way from the Lane Museum, a museum that specializes in these cars, all the way up to Michigan. I mean, it's crazy, but these people love these cars and they're having a lot of fun with them. If you love these kind of cars, please subscribe to our channel, as we do a lot of this type of stuff. And also check out our website, classicmotorsports.com.
Support brands that support classic motorsports. Get your chemical solutions from CRC Industries. Visit crcindustries.com to learn more.